Hi everybody, welcome back to Art and Diamonds with Eskies. There has been so much going on for all of us, and I really hope that all of you and your loved ones are well. I'm on this crazy schedule that I have no time to film. I have barely any time to draw, and so here we are. Diamond painting is not even in the picture at the moment because 2-year-old and little tiny diamonds, not the best mixture. So we have a friend and her son that are staying with us temporarily because the area of the state that she lives in is closed. Yeah, literally, it's complicated. So this is a tiger that I decided I wanted to work on. I'm, typically one to do puppy dogs a lot more than I am anything else. That's just my nature. If the camera shakes, I am very sorry. I have you on something that clips to my easel so that I can have you right over the artwork. I am working from a reference photo from Pixabay. However, I am kind of changing it a little bit to suit myself. So this is the original picture. In case any of you wanted to go and find that. I don't really put links to things like that in the description box at this point because I think that's something that I would want artist permission for. So as you can see, this area is very vibrant and deep in tones and values and colors. This is still very light. That's because these are the initial layers. They are not yet blended. These are kind of my, oh, okay, well, this is where I want it layers. For those of you who do not draw or paint or anything to that effect, if you color even, this is something that you can look at. Right now, what I'm placing down is a Polychromos Ivory. This is my very favorite blending pencil color for animals. Sorry about that. I was trying to stabilize you and made you shake. That's because I shake. So this is something that I use for base layers when I'm going to work on hot press watercolor paper. And the paper I'm using, by the way, is the Fabriano Artistico 140 pound extra white hot press watercolor paper. It does also come in a cold pressed. So make sure that you are selecting what you want. Now, the difference is that the cold press has more texture, and I happen to like cold press watercolor paper for a lot of drawing things. For this, I needed a very smooth texture. I also have the Arches hot press. So far, I think I'm liking the Fabriano quite a bit more, personally. So what I do is I keep my tablet on my drawing board so that I'm looking at them from exactly the same angle, and therefore I'm going to get my perspective a little more accurately for direction of hair, and that's going to give you the shape of the animal's face. I do not like to draw people, so typically I just don't do it. It's that simple. There are so many colors that go into this, and it's kind of strange because when you look at it, you'd go, oh, okay, well, there's some oranges, some yellows, yeah, there's purples, there's blues, of course there's black, but there's also the dark sepia. There is just a myriad of colors, different grades of the burnt ochres and siennas, and this is a very interesting piece because I've been working on a stunning wolf that I'm truly loving working on. But with it came the challenge of everything is in gray, basically, gray tones. I needed a little bright color in the middle of it, so here we are. This is a 16 by 20 inch or 40 by 50 centimeter for those of you in the UK, or those of my diamond painting people who are used to working in centimeters. This is something called glassine. This is acid free. It keeps my hand oils from transferring to this paper, because this is a cotton paper. It's more likely to soak up more of it, although I use it even on cellulose papers. That's me. I'm pretty cautious because I want these pieces to be archival. I want them to be able to be sold, not just used to scan in and print. Obviously, I don't have a scanner or a printer yet. Just kind of, you know, I'm older. I'm not really a tech person anyway, so there you go. I am working on a brand new phone. My phone screen, for those of you who, most of you are not aware, decided to go completely black. Phone still works, but can't see anything or access anything. This is the Polychromos cream. So I lost access to all of my photos, my videos, everything that was on that phone. That kind of sucked, let me tell you. In fact, it really sucked. At any rate. So I had to get a new phone, and my son, because I am grounded to my house by my physician, I'm not allowed to leave because I'm very high risk for what is going on right now in our world. So he went, being very, very sweet, and last month got me a new phone, and he found me something that I don't think he even knew. He was just probably looking at price points. It rivals both the Samsung's newest model and the iPhone's newest model, the 11, is it 11 Plus? It's 11 something. We know this because Nick has it, and we looked up the specs out of curiosity. So there's that for you. I've never seen so many cameras on a phone, and I'm confused on how to use them, so I am learning a lot more about it. Sorry, needed a drink of my coffee. So what I'm using on this drawing, for those of you who are curious, I am using both the Polychromos and the Derwent Lightfast. I also will be throwing in a few Caran d'Ache luminance because they have gradients of shades that no other company offers, even though they are wax based, and both Polychromos and Lightfast are oil based. And you will probably see me pick up my Prismacolor White because I just love that. That pencil's awesome. I also tend to grab the Derwent Drawing Ivory Black or Chinese White based on what kind of coverage I need. So there's the brands I'm using for those of you who want to know, because hopefully I am starting to see some people from the art community coming to my channel, and maybe I can show you a few things, maybe you guys can teach me a few things. I have not drawn or painted in a very, very long time, but I'm quickly coming back into a comfortable level of working with animal portraits. I'm loving it. I am taking a few commissions to fund my art supplies, obviously, and of course all the electronic supplies that I've had to buy lately. Excuse me. So that I can kind of try to keep this content as new and fresh for you all as I possibly can. Sorry, if I sound like I'm going in and out, it is because I'm reaching back to my drawers that I keep my pencils in to grab the colors that I need. Let me grab, which one of those is it? I think it's going to be this one, but we'll see. I keep a little piece of scratch paper that is the same paper I'm working on, so that I can see how the colors will come out on that paper and test them before I use them. The reason for that is I don't want to put the wrong thing in there and then I can't get it off my drawing, you know? You just can't. Because with the Fabriano Artistico, there are a lot of things you can erase, but it's going to leave some of that core pigment behind no matter how lightly you work. So this is the Polychromos Naples Yellow. This tiger has quite a bit of very vibrant shades of yellow in it. It's so pretty. It just kind of amazes me sometimes how beautiful these animals are. Now, I understand that this photo in particular is a tigress. Not a tiger, but we're going to call it a tiger for the most part for our purposes. I was playing with my daughter Sarah. She wanted to see what I was working on, and I sent her a photo, and she goes, "Is that an eye?" And I said, "Yeah, it's the eye of the tiger." She loved it. She got such a giggle out of it. Such a giggle. It was fun to make her laugh. For those of you who know that my youngest daughter has been pregnant, they had to bring my youngest grandchild about 3 weeks early because my daughter was becoming preeclamptic, which is a very dangerous blood pressure issue. He is very beautiful, very safe. He was already 7 pounds 9 ounces when he was born. His lungs were thankfully fully developed, and mommy and baby and big brother are doing really great. So, absolutely awesome news for our family that, Danny is loving being a big brother, and the baby is so cute. He looks like his mom, but with dark hair, and strangely, the hazel eyes almost green that his father has. So I'm hoping that he'll be green-eyed monster like his Uncle Nick, my son. So we'll see. But he is such a cute kid. Very quiet little infant. Some infants like to scream. This one, not so much. He just wants to eat and sleep. I think that's most babies, but yeah, not all, because you've got colic and everything else that you may have to deal with, and that is much rougher. I'm sorry the camera's shaking, you guys. It is because of what it's attached to. I'm so sorry. This is the Polychromos Burnt Ochre. Now, these are my light layers that are going in. I tend to work in very light layers and then darken them in as needed. So, but nothing, as you will see, is ever going to be one color in an area. Even if the photo looks like it's one color, it's not. I've yet to have found one that is, so that works well for me. Very, very well. I need to bring this down a little bit to go right under here. Now, right now, I'm doing kind of fur clumps. I'm not trying to get those individual little hairs that you want later. I'm putting down the lightest color that I need under it so that I can then add the darker shades on top. This is pretty fun for me. It's relaxing. I have, for those of you who've been with me for a while, I have all the babies around me. Spooky, stop it. Spooky, leave Snowflake alone. Snowflake's gurring at him because he wants to play, and she's like, dude, I'm trying to sleep. Snowflake is the one that most of you have heard me call Fluffers quite a lot. Because she is. She's a fluffy baby. She's such a sweet little girl. She really, truly is. Okay. So I've gotten a little yellow background in it. The reason I went yellow over the orange is because I wanted it to kind of tone the orange a little bit for me. That burnt ochre. Something I've learned is that a burnt ochre from one company is not going to match a burnt ochre from another company. So please test them. Be prepared for what you're doing. Don't expect it to magically be perfect. This is the Sanguine from Polychromos. It's quite a bit more of a pinky orange. So I'm bringing this in just a few little areas that need darkening and brightening at the same time. This tiger has been a challenge because it's huge. For a colored pencil piece, this is a very large painting. It's just a big task to take on, and that's okay. For anybody who knows me with my diamond painting, I tend to do big things. It's just kind of my nature. I like getting more detail, is I think what it is for me. I love the details. I just think that's something beautiful to get to work in and enjoy. I did change up the layout of some of the stripes in this because, well, I wanted them changed a little bit. That's me. I'm not trying to do a photorealistic piece from a reference photo. I am, at this point, which I do when I do commissions, and once in a while for myself. What I'm doing with this piece, though, is making it realistic. I'm not trying to duplicate the photograph this time, which you'll never really completely duplicate it, in my opinion, with colored pencil. But painting in colored pencil is this amazingly different feel to it than doing so in paint, in oils or acrylic. Now, I'm not an expert in watercolor by any means. I haven't painted in watercolor in, goodness, over 20 years. So that's not my forte. Now, this is the Derwent Lightfast Mars Orange. These are my favorite pencils by feel as they go on the paper to work with. They feel like you're working with the smooth creaminess of a wax-based pencil like Prismacolor, which I happen to love. But you get the benefits of the oil base so that you can get a much finer point. This does not have that on it. In fact, it's not been sharpened by me. That's a factory sharpening. So I'm kind of using the edge of it first because these pencils are not cheap to replace, and you don't want to sharpen away your materials if you don't need to. I just don't think that's a great idea. I am, by the way, so grateful. So many of you have contacted me to check on myself and my family. It's been a rough few months for our family. And I think it's been rough for everybody. We've just had some very particular challenges with losing family members and having friends that have stepped away from us. And I don't think a lot of people realized that I was unable to talk to anybody because I had no phone that was working. I had to wait until, I had that money to do so. So that was part of why you guys were not seeing anything from me. I couldn't contact you guys without a way to do so. Because I literally got my tablet, which I needed for doing the artwork. The screen resolution is much different than my laptop. And the following day, the screen on my phone went black. So I couldn't contact anybody until we were able to get down there, or have Nick get down there to get a new phone for Mom. And yeah, kind of had to wait for the transportation and timing, and if it weren't for the stimulus package, I wouldn't have any of it, believe me, and I wouldn't have these particular pencils. So I'm incredibly grateful for that, because it really did help me with what I needed to do in life to be happy and comfortable. And because, you guys, I'm stuck at home. Even though a lot of the stay-at-home orders have been lifted, they're not lifted for me. My health is just not capable of handling going out amidst all of this that is going on in our world. And that's fine. Usually I don't mind staying home. I'm at a point right now where I'd really like to leave the house, but I'm not allowed to leave the property. So I'm grounded. And I'm not about to disobey. Because then I'd have Michelle kicking my butt. So, no, thank you. She'd show up here with Jean, and then I'd be in real trouble. Those of you who know my Michelle, she is doing much better. We've gone through a few rounds of surgeries and hospitalizations in recent months that have been very, very trying for her, and she's just such a strong, amazing lady. I don't think that anyone else that I know could go through what this lady goes through and survive it, much less handle it psychologically or emotionally. And she is just wow. She's wow. Now, all of the knuckleheads go through a lot, but she's just been through so many surgeries in the last 12 months. It's been pretty scary. We lost her a couple times and they brought her back, thank goodness, and we've come very close to losing her on a permanent basis on more than one occasion. So we're very, very, very thankful that she is still with us. She's just such an amazingly strong and loving person. I'm just very blessed. Very, very blessed. I'm really missing getting to talk to Kelly right now and some of my other very, very close friends. But, like I said, 2-year-old, he's not here right now is the only reason I'm getting to film. So, that in and of itself is a lucky thing today. Let me see where we headed. Right now, I actually have to go back to the Polychromos. I need to get this particular purple out to work with. Make sure I've got the right shade. Yeah. So, this is the Manganese Violet. What happens when you're working with oranges and you place purple over it, you're not going to see the bright purple. Watch this. It creates shadowing effects. It doesn't just turn purple. It actually turns this amazing color of its own that, depending on the purple and the oranges that you use, you're going to get a different effect. And it's just, I love doing this. It is using complementary colors to create shadows, instead of going in with black, which would be too harsh, or dark sepia, which would be too gray. You know, this gives me the ability to adapt it to what it needs to look like for this particular piece. We're definitely bringing this down a bit. Not much, but a little bit. And then when I blend this out, it's just going to become its own color. It's really fun to do. A lot of versatility in all of this. And I really thought purple on orange animals, okay. But I picked up this tip from another artist. And it's really amazing for doing things like these tigers and such. Because when you enlarge these photos, you will see so many different colors than you would have thought were in these animals. Seriously, it's a different planet from what you're used to, I think. Or at least from what I was accustomed to. I always worked in graphite and oil paint. Those were my two preferred mediums. This is the cinnamon from Polychromos. And so I wasn't well acquainted with working in acrylics, but I don't want the chemicals around my puppies that are required to work in oils, because those chemicals are in large amounts, and I'm not willing to do that. So I switched to acrylics, which I had used here and there. I just didn't have great, long I don't mean great. I had wonderful experience with them, but I just didn't have a ton of it. So now I've switched to acrylics for my paintings. I paint landscapes and seascapes. I draw animals. So that is why the difference in mediums. Now I am, by the way, putting almost no pressure. I'm holding my pencil way back here so that it's pretty much impossible to push down on this and lay a bunch of pigment. I use incredibly well pigmented pencils because I don't want to burnish the paper too soon. I don't want that effect where I can't get enough layers on. And I do a lot less layers than some artists do, and a lot more than others. I think it's just going to be very dependent on the artist. And the techniques vary based on the subject matter too, in my opinion. Okay. Now I'm grabbing, on this pencil it says beige red. This is the old color name for it. They call this light flesh now, but it's the same exact color. And let me show you. I ordered a backup. I needed a new backup. So they are the same color. Alright. This is my new one, so it's put in my storage. I have backups of a lot of colors because you just never know. So this is lighter than the cinnamon, but I didn't fill every area in because I wanted to be able to come in and let this blend, because this can be used to blend these colors, which is so fun to me. I know those of you who work in coloring books a lot are pretty well acquainted with doing that. I'm not gradiating my colors. I'm literally creating and mixing a new color on the paper. And then when I go over this with my blending medium, it's going to, which I don't do on every piece, but on this one it needs it, so it soaks down into that cotton watercolor paper, which is referred to as rag, cotton rag. Anyway, that liquid medium will push it down in. No, you can't do it with water, guys. These are not water-soluble pencils. They are not watercolor pencils, although I do have a few of those. It's just not something I'm into at the moment. Don't know if I ever will be, but they are great for backgrounds. Just absolutely wonderful. At least for the style of work that I do. Let me see where we're at. Okay. So I am really sorry for my absence and the fact that my conversation with you is truly all over the place because my brain is all over the place. I'm so out of practice with filming, and this is Derwent Lightfast Heather. I'm just out of practice filming. Haven't been able to really talk to much of anybody in the last few months because, well, life happens. It just does. That's why all the ums. I'm not thinking at the fast speed that I normally would when I'm filming because I have so much going on at any given moment at this point in life. Now, it's going to calm down at some point because our friend will go back up to where she lives. And hopefully that will give me more time to work and draw and diamond paint and all the things that I love to do, especially film. I miss being able to talk to you guys. I miss being able to provide you with entertainment and or some kind of knowledge that I may be able to offer you. This is the Polychromos Black. This is what I use as a base color for my base black. I then go in with other types of blacks to make them very, very dark like that. But I miss it. At the moment, I'm not missing hosting live streams, and that's because by the time I could get to all that with a 2-year-old in the house, 5 puppies, one of whom has stress-induced epilepsy, a son with stress-induced epilepsy. At this point in life, I think everything would go sideways in mid-live stream, and that just isn't going to work well. But we will eventually do 1 or 2 here and there. I'm not planning to, although you guys know me, my plans can change at any given moment, depending on what's going on in life and what my mood is. I'm not planning to go back to an every week schedule for the live streams at this point in time. Like I said, we all have so much going on in life, and I know that a lot of you are stuck as shut-ins at the moment like I am, and I'm super sorry that I can't be there with you to support you in that way, but we've just had an awful lot with new babies and people in and out of our home because they couldn't be at their own homes at the moment. Loss of family members and friends, and it's been kind of crazy, and I don't really know when it's going to let up. Eventually, I'm sure that I will come back to doing live streams. I just can't promise that I'll be diamond painting on them because I really want to focus on getting my artwork portfolio brought back up to what it used to be many, many years ago, and to be able to do more commissions and things to that effect. Maybe eventually sell prints of some of my works. But we'll see. We will see. I definitely will put a lot of the originals up for sale. I'm just trying to accumulate enough of them to justify me having a website or anything to that effect with my artwork. I really just, I love you guys, and I miss you all so much, and like I said, I'm super sorry that I've not been there. The Eskies, by the way, are doing great. They are happy puppies. They have thankfully been provided everything that they've needed. Fluff is going to need to go to the doctor pretty soon, but hopefully we'll get a second stimulus round, and then I can take her in. If not, I have to figure out the finances behind it and get her in for something she needs to have taken care of. But at the moment, I'm just watching her closely and taking care of her the best way I can. Chrissy turned 10 amongst all of this stuff, and she is not quite as energetic in play as she was before she turned 10. But she's just still a super useful, sweet, playful, loving little girl. Buggy is passed out next to me. So is Spirit, and that's what's causing my phone to move. He's kicking in his sleep. I'm so sorry. I hope that this phone's new, better quality cameras provide you guys a better experience with the videos, especially for the drawings. I want the detail to come through. Yes, this looks yucky right now. It's at an ugly stage because the layers are not blended together, but you can see what happens after they do get blended. I usually do both eyes first. This time I wanted to do the one and work my way down because it looked quite a bit different one from the other, so that way I wouldn't chance smearing all this black on this. Let me tell you, I put a brush across it to brush off any excess, and it just spreads the black, and then I have to run the eraser on the paper. It's a pain in the butt. At that rate, it's just, that's the slow part of it. Colored pencil's an extremely slow medium, you guys. But for me, that gives me focus. It gives me meditative time. It gives me calm, and it presents what works for me. That's why I work more in pencil than I do anything else. For years, I did graphite and oil paint. I still do a few graphite pieces because I like that monotone look to them, and I love doing the value studies and that. But with this, I can do more tonal studies along with value and try to make it look more photographic, basically, more realistic. So I am just going to continue filling this in, darkening my values, getting everything where I want it before I blend it. My thoughts and prayers are with all of you, as they always are and always have been. Please stay safe, and I will film another video for you guys as soon as I possibly can. I have to figure out the editing thing on this phone, so this one's probably just going to go up pretty raw. But please stay safe. Please be super careful with all this stuff opening up. It is causing numbers to rise that we don't want to have rising. So please take every precaution that you can. And if you can stay home and away from the public, please do. If you are an essential worker, thank you so, so, so very much for everything that you have done to keep this nation running when we desperately needed you all, and still do. And I will talk to you guys another time. Hopefully much sooner than it has been recently. I'm so sorry for all the break. But I love you all very, very much. And I will see you again soon. Bye.